Imagine a world without choices. Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. You, I see.
Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. The objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. We're gonna be stronger together. Come, we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I.
Good evening, Uniters. Good evening, everyone. We apologize for being late. Circumstances really beyond our control. And this topic is really near and dear to what I do every day. So I literally was late because I was dealing with somebody on the roadside having a breakdown and I had to detour on my way to the live. And so tonight we are talking about mental illness. That's a part of the topic. We're talking about the people in Portland. We're talking about what's going on there with the people on the streets. And so I want to say, because of the topic, mental illness is a very sensitive topic. And it's also a taboo topic. You know, we have stigma attached to it here in Jamaica and the Caribbean and the world also. And so because we're talking about something that is very sensitive, near and dear to what I do, I want to make sure that we give it the rightful due in terms of consideration. So be mindful of where the conversation will possibly go in terms of what we touch on. Trigger warning for anybody if you find that if the video we're playing may cause a concern for you, don't watch it. If there are kids around, maybe you want to be having some filters there and have a conversation with your kids. Otherwise, if questions come up. So tonight the topic is true or false, Portland, I'm adult. I'm VP Brown-Johnson, by the way. Welcome, Carol Spence, EJW, AV, As It Truth, Vincenzo, who will join us shortly, also hit us up in the chat. I'm Nezuok Komodo, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Says love is the answer, only it keeps us true. Yes, because we have to stay centered in love to try and help and resolve the concerns that present with us to us daily. And through the platform of the UIC, we have to stay focused on the love, you know? So we're going to play a video where VP Jasmin Powell should have been with us on tonight. So we're hoping to still have her join. She's having some technical difficulties because this is kind of her baby, where she went to Portland. She visited Portland, you know, to kind of get a sense of what was going on in that community, which falls under her purview. And she met up with Kristoff Brown, who is residing in Portland, to highlight some of the challenges. And so this true or false, Portland and Mad Out, there's a song out there about Mad Out. I don't really subscribe to it because I don't think we should be talking about Jamaica madding out, because we should be thinking about being sane and balanced every day in terms of what we do. So we don't want to really mad out in terms of the term, what that means. And so being sensitive to what you're about to see, understanding that yes, there are challenges, but it's how we deal with them, and it's a space to remember to be empathetic, because the person right next to you, you never know what they're going through on a daily basis. You never know what their challenges are. And so it can take, okay, thank you. It can take, sometimes people are at the end of their rope, and a straw, something as, the term, the straw that broke the camel's back. Camel is a huge animal. The brain is a huge animal. And so sometimes you don't know what's going on inside of persons, their challenges, how those challenges are affecting them. And so your words can be a straw. A situation, any type of situation can be a straw. The way the government deal with it can be a straw. So the people have varied levels of tolerance. And so it's important to try to be empathetic, understanding, compassionate, and provide solutions. Provide solutions that really help to resolve and heal and are long term and sustaining, not just band aids over the cuts, but really provide ways in which people can fish for themselves. And that's what the UIC is about. That's what we propose to do when we form the next government, not if, because I do believe that that's a big part of the solution and the direction that Jamaica needs. So we're going to play the video now, and then after that, I'll invite our other participants to join us. So thank you again. Okay, here we go. Go ahead, Nika. Can you play that video for us? Thank you.
And I am a member of the United Independence Congress, the UIC. I visited Portland recently, and I still am not recovered from what I have seen in Portland. It is troubling to see so much example of the bad governance within our country. How can one little space have so much homeless and mentally challenged persons? This is the reason why you should all vote for the UIC, because under the UIC government, this situation will be addressed. These mentally challenged people need care and support. Enough is enough. We need to take back our country. We need to take back Portland. It can't be just a situation where everybody are mad out. Oh no. The UIC have the answers and the solution to this situation.
Gonna be stronger together, we can make it right.
Now on camera, just hang on. All right, so I have Lady Jasmin on the phone because she's having technical issues. So she's listening in. And so we just played the video, Lady Jasmin, and I see Mr. Chairman Winston Wright has joined us. Good evening, Mr. Chair. Portland Amado Naldo, formerly known as Lil Dago. Yes, and I want to bring on now Kristoff, Mr. Brown, to let us delve into what is happening in Portland that's expressed in that video. Mr. Brown, please join us.
Hi, good
Good
night.
good night, Mr. Brown. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, okay.
Again, that video, Lady Jasmin is on the phone. So I just want you to talk about, I know you've probably had conversations with her.
Yes,
When I look at that video, it's heart-rending, to see so many people, and we talk about maybe not all of them are mentally challenged, but for sure, if they stay in that state on the road, even if they got there from any type of misfortune, you stay in that state long enough, it will challenge your mentality, your balance. Yeah. Because not many of us can go out there and do what they're doing. It will affect you. So let me hear from you, your thoughts. You live there, you see this every day, you interact with the community. You know the people them, you might know some people who you know their history. Some of them may not have been on the road, and then you see them end up on the road. So talk to us, Mr. Kristoff. And Mr. Kristoff is looking to be a candidate as well for the UIC. So we look forward to that. Go ahead, Mr. Brown. Take the floor.
okay. Well, in reality, so let me talk about what I think with no formal evidence, the cause. Because, well, in reality, most mental illness comes from like stress. So
Mm-hmm.
having whether just poverty can providing basic needs or having find yourself in some debt or whatever it is. And honestly, those that I just mentioned, they reside over here. They reside in Portland because we don't have a very fluid industry per se. Our economy, it it is really bad. It has over the years, it's taking a nosedive. Yes, it has been taking a nosedive. So when you find people growing up in their community, feeling themselves bubbling with potential. And then you come out to a society that has nothing for you. And you're like, growing up through high school and through primary school, you're like, I want to be and I want to do. And then coming out to a society where there aren't much. And, and even if you try to be creative, the system, the system that we have is like set in ways to limit your potential. So, from my personal experience, I have that close friends, like
Sorry,
people.
no, no, not you, Chris. I'm not laughing at what you're saying. Janet Graham just said, "Good evening, beautiful UIC. It would be nice if we could help get them registered to vote. We have to assess them, clean them up, and get them on our side." So that's why I smiled because of what Miss Graham just said. Finish your thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, yeah. So, on my personal experience, I have friends that suffer from mental illness, and like not one, nor two, nor three. I have like six close friends, individuals that we grew up together, and honestly, what I can share about most of them, like the observation, very, very um passionate and talented and energetic individuals before going to that state. So I knew them when they were like mentally stable, trying to set up business, operating business, and just having obstacles, meeting them after over and over, over and over. Like right now, I think just present at today Portland, just the infrastructure that we have working with right now is very stressful. because
Define, break it down. When you say the infrastructure is stressful, break it down for us. Especially, I know people in the diaspora may know what that is, and we in but break it down so we understand. When you say, yeah, talk to it like we're four with that.
yeah, all right, I'm going at the meantime matter right
Yeah,
now.
man.
All right,
Yes.
on East Portland, right now we have just basic movement. So if you live in East Portland, you want to go to the town, which is Port Antonio, it is a problem because um so they decided to do some form of road construction, road repair. It is not going well at all because they destroyed the road. So it wasn't done in segments, like maybe every 3 kilometers at a time or so. They destroyed like maybe 15-kilometer roadway, and it's just rubble. It's like a riverbed. So what? And they have mall on it. So what this does? It destroys. You have a business, nobody now come. All right, East Portland. A lot of people might not know, but East. This is where tourism started, and it lingers here. Maybe not as strong as northern, more Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
but Perry Hill. We are in my era. There is the Frenchman School, where a lot of people might know. The Blue Lagoon, Boston Bay, Winfred Beach, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So having people not being able to move, commute, we not nobody now get no business. Business just get destroyed for hundreds of people. So if you normally have one shop or a jerk stall or you still at the beach or whatever you do, because as I'm gonna tell you, Portland economy is just going down. Um,
So would you say, or let would you say then? I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I think it's all over the country, not just Portland.
mm-hmm.
But it may be felt more prevalently because Portland may have a smaller area in terms of, the different infrastructure available. But the people in the video, in terms of how would you say that this has contributed to them being there? Is it that the navigation with the system causes the stress and it impacts? Because again, mental illness, there's a range of issues that can present,
Yeah.
and stress is a factor. Stress is one factor, right?
Well, mhm.
So it's
Honestly,
the
I think it's
thing.
the main part that I've seen. Like
Okay.
people want to make money, people want to make life, they want to come out of this poverty because as I'm gonna tell you, we don't have a booming industry like Ocherius or Kingston. So the
Hmm.
little that we have is being taken away from us. So
Right.
people like a man come out and you want to make life better, you try every way, and then the simple little things that would help you to elevate out of it. You just see it taking away and you can't catch it back. You can't feel the ability to reach for it. Like you
Right.
see it out of your reach. You
Right.
just feel like giving up.
Right.
Honestly,
Right.
honestly, in my seeing state right now, there are a lot of times I've been trying and without you having that persistence to keep going. Sometimes I just feel like give up on life. Yeah, it just give up because the limited access we have to resources. Big deal, big deal. And I feel
Yeah,
like,
and simple things, simple basics, food,
yeah,
clean water,
yeah, exactly. And we have
clothes.
water problem. We have so Portland. We have a ton load of rivers. We have
Mm-hmm.
like in just in the town alone, there
Mm-hmm.
are like 3 different rivers running through the town, and the town there's like water in your pipe for maybe like 3 days a week, 2 days, 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
so the
Can
bill
relate.
so then you need to buy a tank of water. So imagine you wake up now, there's no water. One tank of water, a smallest tank you get will cost you like $5,000. So imagine if you're unemployed, you need water, you need
Yes.
electricity.
Yes.
Um, so
Yes.
honestly,
That's
that things
frustrating,
like
that worse than hunger sometimes because you can't even be able to fresh up yourself.
honestly it
Yeah.
causes a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
itself And as I'm telling you, I know people like I have friends. I know it break them because then try and high ambition. You just
Yeah,
want to be something, and then you might not be the fortunate one to inherit that support.
right, right,
You're not born in a rich family for push you, so then you want to make it yourself, but then there's nothing. You get frustrated and just give up on life, and
right.
you lead right to that street side.
Let
Yeah.
me ask Lady Jasmine on the phone, is there anything you want to add? Because I'm about to bring on Mr. Crawford. Is there anything you want to add to what Kristoff is saying? Because you were there too, seeing the people. You were even talking to some of these people. So then we know that maybe they're not even, some of them were not necessarily demonstrating or showing the full spectrum of what you'd call severe mental illness. Because if them can reason with you, there's some level of logic and some level of lucidity there where them understand what you're saying. So it can be something could have that they had a hard time, had something throw them off balance, stress, like Kristoff is saying. Anything you want to add, although we don't have you on camera, have your voice. Mm-hmm.
Yes. A pleasant good night, everyone. My apologies for not being on camera. I just want to say, I am still not over the sight that I saw in Portland. For me, it is very troubling
Are we
and
hearing
disturbing.
Kristoff? You're
Yes,
hearing?
I am.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Yes, actually, I was frightened because as I stepped off the bus, the first thing I saw that jumped out at me was all these mentally challenged people. As much as I'm in Kingston, I have never seen so much mentally challenged people in a space like that before. It's just so sad, and because of that, I I came home and it just that picture can't come out my mind, and I was inspired to write something, a little poem. I'm not a writer. Let me put up my disclaimer. I'm not a poet, but at some point in the program, if you will allow me, I can share it.
Certainly, certainly that's not an issue.
Yes,
And
yes,
we want to make sure to contextualize that, even though we are saying that they present as mentally challenged, from where I
yes,
sit, for us to be able to know that for sure, we have to assess them, screen them,
yes,
have reason with them a particular way that we can say, well, this one may need some sort of help otherwise. But some of those people look like they were just met with hard times, and they had no other option but to be on the road, because you're asking somebody that was there, how long you out here? And he said, what, 5 years?
yes, yes,
Right. So,
yes.
he's able to have a converse. He was able to converse with you. So let me bring on Mr. Crawford now, and let's go ahead. You want to say something else, Miss Powell?
Um, no, no.
Okay, Mr.
Not just
Crawford,
eager, just want to share.
the poem. Yes.
Yes,
So just some people in the chat, some of our uniters. It seems as if, Janet, you're really saying these poignant things, and it's some serious point Miss Graham here making. It seems as if the Jamaican population is in extinction. Well, we're still here, so we're not yet extinct, but it's a valid point that, boy, the way that things are going, you wonder where Jamaica will be in a few years. I understand the water situation. We get most rain, most countries. Why can't we? Those are some of the solutions. Why can't many people see gutters and catch water like back in the days? Some people still do that, but it may need. We want to put that as a mainstream solution. In the US, the main reason people are homeless is based on bills. Well, I would think that some of those people, those are factors. Mr. Crawford, welcome. Your
Yes,
input
greetings.
in the video.
Are you hearing me?
Anything to share with our uniters, our audience?
Are you hearing me?
Not hearing you.
I am.
All right. Greetings, everybody.
Not hearing your
Um,
audio.
You're not hearing my audio
Not
very
sure why we're
clearly.
not hearing you, Mr. Crawford.
Are
Nika,
you
not
hearing me
sure
now?
I can help him resolve that.
Are
Can
you
you hear
hearing me
Mr.
now?
Crawford? I can't hear him.
I can.
You're hearing him, but
Okay,
I'm
so
not
Chris
hearing him
Chris
on
can
the
hear
line.
me.
Are you
Chris
hearing
can
him,
hear me.
Kristoff?
Yes, I can.
First is in the chat.
Kristoff, are
Just
you
let me
hearing
know
me?
if you can hear me.
Yes, I'm seeing people saying they're hearing Vincenzo, but I'm not hearing him at all.
Not sure what's
So I'm
going
not
on there.
sure what's happening in terms of, hang on. You hearing me now? Go ahead, Vincenzo.
I'm I'm hearing
All
you.
right,
Are you
go
hearing
ahead.
me?
Yes, I'm hearing you
All
now.
right,
Sorry.
excellent, excellent.
Go ahead, sir.
So I'm Vincenzo Crawford, right? MP candidate for Northeast Manchester, and this is a very interesting topic. First, I want to say big up Jasmin Powell for actually, highlighting the issue. As Dr. Coretta mentioned, I'm not really a fan of the song itself. Anytime I hear it, big up to the artist, but anytime I hear it, I skip it because, I think, the state where Jamaica right now, we're supposed to celebrate this thing, madness. You understand? Because a madness are going in Jamaica on a real level. See? So, yeah, man, big up, shout out to Jasmine for actually documenting it and highlighting it so that the UIC can have it to speak on, right? Now, shout out to Chris as well for being here, my G. Yeah.
Yeah.
The truth is, you mentioned a thing where you say the um I'm not quoting you, right?
Mhm.
But verbatim. But you mentioned a thing where you say that a lot of persons them under stress. Some of them will left high school and them a go through this what you call it now. Just a minute. Oh, sorry about that. Them a go through this situation where them ambition I take hold of them. And that is real, my brother. You understand? Because me I tell you, when me left high school, me feel like me did a mad out. You understand what I say? On a real level.
True.
You know what I mean? So that is a real thing, and I think the government should give more attention to these things, you see. But what I want to highlight is we talk about mentally challenged people, and to everybody who's listening, I just want to drop a bomb on you that not everybody will sleep on the road actually mad. You understand? Yeah. In my opinion, and this is opinion now, I feel like there's probably more mad people in clean clothes than mad people on the street. You understand? There are probably more people who are dressed up like me and you. You understand? I got work and them I go through some serious things right here, so you see?
Facts.
Than persons who actually dip on the road where you see lay down on a cardboard. Because guess what? I worked for an organization, right? It was in 2016, 15, 16, right? I don't want to state the organization on this platform right now. But I had to do a survey in downtown Kingston, right, on the key population, right? And I had to highlight key population would mean those who are, lesbian, gays, just to see what are the what's the statistics in the key population where persons are actually transmitting certain, sexually transmitted diseases, right? And in that data, we had to gather those who are actually homeless. Now, recognize that there were a lot of homeless people on the street. And when you communicate with them, they were not, they did not appear to be mad.
Mm-hmm.
They did not appear to have mental challenge. When they
Mm-hmm.
tell you their story, you're shocked because I'm gonna blow you away again. If you look at just visualize or think back in your mind, what's the ratio of mad men to mad women that you actually see on the street? And I'm speaking to everybody to assess this in your mind. Yeah, there are less mad women on the street than mad men. Would you say that I'm actually accurate, somewhat accurate, or somewhere near the ballpark here? Doc.
Say that again. More mad, more, and you see the term mad. I mean, I put
Observable
that in quotes because the term is
in quote
mental health,
because no,
and so
right,
okay,
right.
we say more what? More males than
When me say
females.
mad, there appear to be, based on observation, just walking on the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
Try to think back. Would you say that you'd see more homeless or more persons appearing to be mad
Who are
who are
males?
males versus those who are females?
I would say so. Yes. So a general overview and poll, you see that more. That's for real.
Right.
Yeah.
You would say you
So
see more males,
yes,
right? And that reflected in
if I think about within the last week, even in the video we played, there were more. I
mhm,
mean, the video had 90%. I didn't recall seeing any females in it.
any
Doesn't mean
females.
that the females
Right.
are not dealing with issues, but in terms of it presenting
Women
on
are
the
dealing
road,
with issues.
right?
Yeah. So there are women dealing with issues, but here is what it is easier, and I speak for myself as well. It is
Mm-hmm.
much easier for me to actually attend or help a female than a male. It is much
Based on the
easier for
social
a
cultural aspect of our society. Okay,
exactly. It
right.
is because when you're dealing with a male, you're dealing with that air of let's say threat. Not to say that a woman cannot be threatening, you understand? But we have a culture wherein we typically look to say we want to help women. And so a woman would feel safer helping a fellow woman on the street or off the street, right, than a man. And a male would feel a little bit more, kind towards a male, especially we have that culture there where we not really to get too close to a male. You understand me? I say that's how
Yeah,
Jamaica
I
is,
do. I do. It's a cultural
right?
factor for sure. Yeah, it's a social cultural
So
factor.
some of these men and some of these people you would see on the street, a majority of them appear to be men, right? And a lot of them are not actually mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
So some of them would report to you that they lost their home, right? Yeah, you have people on the street who lose them home. Yeah, lose them home through even the bank. Some of them lose them home through a divorce. You
Yeah.
understand what I say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are various reasons, and some of them actually give up. And that goes back to what Chris is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
some of the people you'd say, okay, they're having a breakdown, and you see them just go sit down on a corner.
True.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
have lost
listen,
hope.
I totally concur because, like I said, the reason I was late today, my phone rang. A young
Hmm.
lady, she's jogging. I mean, this is somebody who, to me, would be a reasonable expected. It's reasonably expected that she normally okay, and she was having a severe panic attack to the point where I had to detour because I'm hearing her on the phone and saying stay on the phone, and she was having such a severe panic attack that it's almost like she was gonna pass out. So it took me about 10 minutes to get to her from where I was. And then she didn't want to
Hmm.
go to the doctor. She didn't want to go to the hospital. I'm like, let's get you. I'm calling a doctor to see if they can come, a medic, see if they can come on site. She didn't want to interact with our system at all. So I had to
Hmm.
get somebody to take her home and I'll check on her when I'm done. But these are real things that we people, we all contend with it, we all have our own issues and things that causes us stress. And what's key is that the real thing is we should be in a society that provides the resources to help us release the pressure, to help us not to add
Exactly.
to the pressure, not to be taking out, I mean, literal creating war. It's like you're at war with the citizenship, and so the issues of stress is why we have a Portland. The idea that every step of the way it affects your mental health to just deal with a lot of our organizations locally now in 2023. You
Yeah,
know,
I
just like what
agree.
Kristoff was saying, you go one day you drive past one road, it nice and smooth. Another day you wonder where the potholes come from. NWC dig up one segment, NWA don't fix it. You're literally, it's a ricochet effect. And so mental health is like that. If every day I feel like I'm taking a beating from a system that is supposed to be supportive, we're going to have Portlands all over Jamaica. And right now, I can say we have Portlands hidden behind the walls, like you're saying. People are trying to hold it together. And that's why we talk about the empathy being important, because you don't know what the man next door in his shoes dealing with. And so when you see it, it's important, very important in terms of our response. Welcome, Mr. Pattison.
Welcome.
I take it you want to get involved in this conversation for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Welcome.
Definitely.
And so
Mhm.
it is very, very important because our system really creates the stress that causes the Portlands to happen. And so here we have our UIC president. Mr. Crawford, did you finish your point? I kind of took
Uh,
over.
not quite. But in greetings, Mr. Patterson.
Good.
Can
Yeah.
I have Mr.
Um,
Pattison greet us and then I come back to you?
Sure.
yes, you can
All
do that.
right. Thank you. Over to you, Sir President.
Sure.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Madam Dr. Coretta and Mr. Crawford and Mr. Brown and Miss Powell for the excellent job you're doing. This is a very important topic, and so I'm looking forward to a chance to just say a few words on it. But first, let's hear what Mr. Crawford was saying. No?
Go ahead, Mr. Crawford. Back to you.
Right. So we know that just in finishing, we know that the whole idea of mental health, right, diagnosing it and all that stuff, it takes you through a more critical process, right? To actually, assess a person to see, okay, whether or not this person is struggling and what this person is actually struggling with. You understand? That's why Dr. Corretta's job is so hard. You understand? However, I think just putting some solution forward here, right? Just to at least separate those who are mentally ill from those who are just simply homeless, or those who just feel like say, you know what, I give up, may I give up right now. I believe that our government need to shine some light in this area. You understand? Because the truth is Jamaica have lands. Jamaica have the potential for a lot of opportunities. You
Right.
understand? We can we can actually help every single person in Jamaica to actually have an opportunity at a home, no matter how small the home is. You understand? And I'm not talking say you have to give it away free, because the resources will actually be used to get them that kind of benefit. You understand?
Right.
But
I,
at least put a favorable system in place
right.
to help those who are homeless and in need, and if it's even to provide them with some form of some way in which they can you know achieve some remuneration,
Right.
is it,
It's one of the
for some
solutions that we
service
need
that
to
they could
provide.
pay, right, that they could actually pay off their debt. You understand what I'm saying? A debt
Hmm.
that would be so high that they cannot come out of it. So I'm just putting that forward.
Can I say
Go
something?
ahead, Mr. Patterson.
Wait, Miss Jasmine has something she wants to add. Sorry, Sir President, since she's on the phone. Go ahead, Lady Powell.
Yes. Just want to comment or add to what Mr. Crawford is saying. But my view is that at this point, I don't see the present government doing anything, absolutely anything, to help this situation. They had enough years, enough time, and instead of things getting better, it's getting worse. So the only solution right now is not for those people, the present government or opposition, to pay off any debt.
the solution is to allow the UIC to come in and address all of these situations, because within the UIC module, the UIC is looking at a clean and a safe and a orderly Jamaica, and of course that wouldn't include those homeless people and those mentally challenged people on the streets. So the UIC will clean up all of that, because cleanliness is what the UIC is about.
Okay.
That's my
Thank you, Lady Powell. I'm going to have Mr. President speak to that as well. But in terms of some solutions that I perceive that can be funneled or filtered through the UIC, safe spaces for people in every parish. We need safe spaces, safe havens, where we can have the very thing that Mr. Crawford talks about. A space where, you can go in, check your mental health, like how you check your blood pressure. If you need to talk to somebody, you talk to somebody, you have a therapist on the go or something. You can train young youth counselors and stuff to do that. And then look at the needs, assess the needs. Lady Powell and I were talking today about how do we get to the people in Portland based on what we saw. And so some of the things that basic needs, clothes, food, things that, because those are some of the things that they can't get to. So having safe spaces that we can answer some of those concerns or start at the bottom, because somebody in the chat was saying a lot of so-called mad people, if one should have a conversation with them, majority are very sane and intelligent, just lacking resources and therefore overwhelmed by poverty. So over to you, Mr. President.
Sure. Thank you very much. And good evening again, everyone. The more I think about mental health, is the more I also think about physical health and think about financial health and economic health, social health. I think sometimes we get caught up with trying to treat the symptom of the problem as opposed to treating what is causing the problem. Why do people become mentally unstable? It begins with, in my opinion, the person losing the ability to feel as though they have hope in this world. They have a place in this world. They can apply themselves and hope to achieve something that makes them feel worthwhile. When you're born in Jamaica, you're born to a great number of odds. First of all, most people are born into a very poor family where your nutritional needs are below adequate, your housing needs are below adequate, your parental needs are below adequate, because sometimes it's a single parent. Sometimes even if you have both parents, they're at odds with each other. They're struggling to be in a socially cohesive household. And so then you go to school, and the system of schooling is one which is based primarily on rote learning and passing the examination. You're not learning good social skills, how to be a team player, how to work effectively with others. You're not getting to understand who you are. So you finish high school and you still don't know, who am I? You don't understand yourself, your purpose, your fit in society. You also don't understand after schooling how to build solid relationships with other people. You don't understand human behavior and human dynamics. You don't understand how the economy works and how you're going to fit into that. You simply learn how to pass exams to get ready for a job. Now, if that's the focus and you leave school and you're now going to try to get a job and there are not many jobs available, even if you select a particular area of focus, zoology, biology, engineering, a particular kind of engineering, you find that many of those opportunities are not available here in Jamaica for you. You'll have to leave. So your focus now shifts away from building life in Jamaica to find out how you can escape Jamaica. So your life is built now around escaping Jamaica for many people. And so the stress and pressure is on how to get out of this. So you even stop understanding what you can do here. You no longer feel like this is a part of your future. This is your home. So you need to plan your life and build your life. If you're a young man, you see your age passing, and you can't afford to really court a woman with a sense of responsibility that you're going to be able to marry her at a decent age, have children, raise those children. So your mind starts to go all over the place. You realize that if you try to follow a career path, it's unlikely you're ever going to have enough money to buy a home, buy a car, care for your family the way you want to care for them. Even if you're bright, even if you're working very hard and you're building your mental faculties, you're not seeing a way out, except if you leave Jamaica. So you're trapped here and you don't get to leave. You're now living a life of entrapment. You feel trapped. You feel oppressed. You feel like the whole world is kind of sucking in on you. So now your mind is no longer able to focus on what you should focus on, which is how to build a decent life for yourself and your family, how to find that
Right.
right female, that right male, because that's very key. If you're a female, you're having a problem now. You can't find a man who looks sensible, reasonable. Women look for men who can protect them. Women look for men who they can trust to be a provider. Even if they themselves are going to be career oriented, they want a man who's going to be solid beside them. So now they're having a problem because they're not seeing too many of those men. And the men
Severe
and
disparity,
the men are
yes.
having a problem because they can't see themselves as being able to really afford the woman that they want. And so now you have a disconnect, a social disconnect, and it begins to eat away at you day in, day out, day in, and you become dysfunctional. You start to focus maybe on stealing from your employer or trying to run some side hustle, which takes you away from your main. Let's say you are a teacher, like Mr. Crawford, going to school every day. You want to teach the students, but your mind is away. It's like, how we can make some more money, man? How we can, because the money not enough for you to plan properly a long-term future. Short-term, yes, you can buy some growth and pay a little bills. But to build a long-term future, you're not seeing it on the salary. And the trajectory of your employment doesn't suggest that in 5 years you're going to be where you need to be. So now you want to escape. If you try to escape locally, it means you have to hustle. And hustling now takes you away from perfecting your skills as a teacher or as an engineer or as a lawyer, because now you're trying to hustle something else to augment that loss while you're still having an eye out for, can I escape this island altogether? And the pressure of all of that now creates. So if you want to fix the problem, you have to now look at the economy. Are we designing the kind of economy which is going to create broad-based opportunity? Are we building an economy which maximizes the entrepreneur, allows him to experiment and try new things without being oppressed by regulations which prevents him or her from doing their best? Your school system, is it creating the kind of students who can go beyond the route learning, go beyond the myopic view of just finishing school and getting one of the small amount of jobs that are there? Then you want to look at your governance model. Is the overall model something that makes the people feel confident in their government, confident in the taxes they're paying? And in Jamaica, all of those are failing. The economy isn't designed for the average person to succeed. The school system isn't designed to give you the competencies to live in this space and make it better. And the government doesn't inspire you to let you feel that if I stay here and contribute to this country based on how my government is performing, I feel confident that I'll be safe, it will be clean, it will be orderly, I'll be able to be the best that I can be, and my family will benefit. I can find the right woman, the right man, and build a family and feel good about staying here in Jamaica. All of that is missing, and that's why we're having not only mental health problems, but even physical health, because we can't eat properly, we can't sleep properly, and if you can't eat and sleep properly, if you can't feel good about yourself after the work day and enjoy a light moment with your peers and your partners, then now that feeds into your mental challenges and breaks you down completely.
I think there's nothing that, when you have a mic drop, that's a mic drop moment because you have really put it into perspective in terms of the overall idea as to why we continue to have the challenges that we do. And so I totally agree. I just want to pull in. I'm not sure, Anne, are you laughing or crying there? Use every opportunity to point Jamaicans in the direction of the UIC. Yes, because that's the only way that I see these methods, the plans being executed to support the population. So certainly if we have the support based on what our president has described, if we have an economy that is flourishing and working for the benefits of the population, and the services that we need being executed at a particular level, is less stress, because all of what you just described to president, if we have to deal with this every day, it equals to stress. And because of that, the variations of stress, people have different levels of capacities. And so based on what you're dealing with in your process every day is either less stress, more stress, or compounded stress.
Can I give you
And so
Can I give
go
you
ahead.
one more point, Madam Chair? I'd love to hear Mr.
Sure, go ahead.
Crawford's view on this as a teacher.
Go ahead.
Every year we fail just over 70% or more of our students coming out of high school. What should you leave high school with? You should leave with some basic things. You can read, you can write, you can compute, you can reason, you can communicate, right? Now, if you're failing 70% or more of your students every year you're failing 70% or more, meaning the school system isn't causing them to leave with the comprehension, reasoning, and communication skills. It means that as they face the challenges I just mentioned, they lack now even the basic ingredients of negotiating with each other. They can't. So, for example, I was talking to a lady this week. I bought some stuff from her. I bought them from her out of. She's desperate. She's in a very desperate situation, and rather than give her money, I bought some junk from her because she has some junk in her place that I think can be cleaned up and be used by somebody else. So I bought the junk from her just to give her the money. I didn't want to just give her the money like that. I prefer to let her get into the idea of trading and not just begging. So I said, what do you have? So and so. And then after the exchange is done, the lady, it's like she can't reason. She cannot see that the junk she had would be sitting there forever, or she has to throw it out and somebody has just given her money. Instead, she started to reason, you should have given me more money, man. I'm like, what just happened here? I just took some junk from you, which you couldn't sell anywhere, and I gave you money so that you could. Even last year, some people attacked me because a fellow came to me and said he wanted to borrow some money. I didn't plan to lend him any money. He said he wanted to borrow. So I said, okay, how much do you want? He tells me the amount he wants. I said, how long do you want it for? He tells me how long he wants it for. I said, what interest rate you want to pay? He tells me what interest rate he wants to pay. I gave him everything he asked for. Then he went on a blogger site and talked to the blogger and said, oh, Mr. Patterson tried to extort him because we lend him the money and look at me and charge him and whatever. And I was like, my mind was blown. How do we get
survival instincts do that? Yeah.
From you asked for what you wanted. I gave you the money. I gave you the duration that you wanted, and I gave you the interest that you asked for. I was only doing this alone. I don't like to give money to people. Honestly, I'm telling you, I don't, because when you give money to people, you make them dependent. And they become offended when you can't give them anymore. So I rather trade with you. What do you have to sell? Can you sell something? So on. So the point I'm making is, Mr. Crawford, I want to get your point on this. If we're putting into our society every year 70% of our high school graduates lacking these basic comprehension, reasoning, and communication skills, don't you think that is a key ingredient for mental health disorder in our society?
It is, because you can't filter well. Mr. Vincenzo Crawford, your thing, your input from being in the school, the classrooms every day. I mean, I'm there, but in a different capacity.
Yes, I agree with you 100% there, because I see it every day. One of the places I see it is with persons who would have not been a part of what you call like they're not going out to 9 to 5. They literally have a trade or a skill. Yeah, and they're utilizing that skill or that trade to their benefit. Like they probably don't have a certificate or anything, but probably they learn it from somebody. You understand?
Mhm.
And when you try to actually negotiate with them a deal, or probably you're not even trying to negotiate with them. Just say how much you are charging for a particular duty. Because this is something I experienced very recently.
Yes, me.
Yeah, the man saying can do some work. And me say, all right, I was gonna get somebody outside of the community, but because I believe in building my community, you understand? I want to use as much persons who are skilled in my area to do the work. You understand? And I say to the brother, I say, how much you charge me? The man give me a price. The next morning, I say, okay then, fine. I did a ball on him price. The next morning, him come back, him say, boy, I come here do a thing for you, you know. And I say, brother,
Yeah.
me don't want you to do nothing for me, brother. Me say, right now, me don't want you to do anything for me. Me say, all right, you put 10 more grand on it, right? After me put it, him say, all right. Me say, you can work with that. Me I put 10, I volunteered 10 more $1,000 on what he was charging, right? And he said, um, said, oh, all right, me work with that, man. Afterwards, he must say, remember, it's like a job work, you know. Afterwards, a few, 2 days after, him say, but what happened to lunch? He said, but the lunch should not come out. You'll
Yeah,
be
the 10
providing yourself with your lunch, brother.
Wow.
The man say, him cannot operate like that. So me say to him, say, I'm gonna give. Say, me say, all right then, this is the last negotiation. I'm gonna give you 5 extra thousand for your lunch. You understand? And that's for the week. 'Cause you said the job will last for let's say about the week. You understand? Him say 5,000 dollar can do for the week. So I realize what's going on there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? And then I think the work kind of start draw out when he don't even realize that he's actually paying himself.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So if him done the work in a 1 day or 2 day,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that would be it, and then he would collect the large lump sum.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? But somewhere in the back of his head, he's telling himself that, listen, if it's going over and the work gone to an extent, then maybe me can ask for more cash.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what Mr. Patterson is saying here. We, as a Jamaican people, we are not taught how to manage money in high school. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, them give you a standardized system. The standardized system doesn't work for the majority of students. I see a lot of students suffering. Not everybody know maths, Virgin. Some people good for science and fail chemistry because guess what? They cannot calculate simple electron
Mm-hmm.
configuration.
Formula.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You have some people who they are good in social studies and that's it. That's all they pass.
Mhm.
What are we providing to our students? You understand? And since it's so difficult for them to max up in their head to to provide something substantial in the standardized system, yeah? Why don't we have some form of module that help our students to reason out life, to reason out how to manage the little that they have. Because when I calculate how much this man is working, he's working more than me, the more than what I am working. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? In a 1 week.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it just don't make no sense to me, brother.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, Mr.
But look what
Patterson.
they do. It's
So yeah.
Madam VP. Look what they have
Yeah.
done to us, and this is amazing. So we have basic school, we have primary school, we have high school, and normally after that you should either be going into a tertiary institution to do advanced level studies, or you should be going into a trade institution where you're now doing advanced trade. You know, you're now advancing in whatever you're trading. Instead, they have things like Heart Academy and so on, where you're pretty much it's a very basic
Skill set. Yeah.
skill set improvement
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to why don't do it on the back end? Why not make sure that when you leave basic school at age 6, I believe, you
Mm-hmm.
are proper in the fundamentals of understanding reading, the fundamental reading, the fundamentals of mathematics, the fundamentals of logics, the fundamentals of teamwork and working in an environment with other people. so that by the time you go to primary school now, you're firming these things up. The concepts are becoming stronger in your mind. You have mastered these things at a bigger level. You're understanding yourself more and so on. And then when you get to high school, all those rudimentaries are done. So from grade 7 to grade 11 and then 12 and 13, you are super. You might not know this, but back in the day, way back, when the people who gave us the calculus, the people who gave us the brilliant development, for them, they were in university at like 15, 16, and 17. Okay? The people who gave us
non-Greek.
the people who gave us the things we have now, the cell phones, the computers, the brilliant ideas, the brilliant thinking, understanding gravity, understanding relativity, understanding calculus.
Philosophy,
They were completing these things that has advanced us at age 15, 16, 17.
Right.
We are now saying we need to keep spreading this out as long as possible. But that is not really for development, it's really because of economics. And I'll have to go another lesson.
Right.
It's a system of trickery where you keep people longer.
It's on purpose, man.
It's on purpose. It's on purpose because
it's on purpose.
Yes.
You keep us longer learning foolishness. Okay, you keep us longer learning foolishness, right? To be honest with you.
I mean, the structure of the system now, I saw somebody, Janet, talk about the early childhood development department. And please like, share the live, guys. Like, share, get the live out there. Let's get it viral. The early childhood development department is most essential. We have an ECC. We have an early childhood commission here. But one of the things that happens is they're trying to certify institutions. And there are institutions that will never get the 100% because of the nature of what's required for the certification. You will never pass some of these tests because the infrastructure are not in the schools.
Dr. Coretta, it's a game. All of these, Jamaica is full with institutions. We have a department for everything.
Yeah. Then they don't talk. They don't communicate.
So all of them is a proliferation of all kind of names and all kind, and it didn't give people a food because all of these positions are staffed by political people. Okay, so you put them on these boards and on these councils and on these commissions, and you give them a food. That's really what you're doing. But the problem of fixing the country, if you want to see how you fix a country, go to Singapore. In Singapore, they don't play around.
But they're not interested, Mr. Patrick.
Exactly.
No, it's
they're not interested in fixing the country.
Because you have to get pep, you have to make, because it's a process, after grade 1, you're from grade 1 you're in preparation for 3, 4, 5, and 6.
But you have all of these things, and they announce them. You have all the announcements. You have all of the talking heads going around talking, but they're not dealing with the problem. In Singapore, for example, if you want to be a teacher in their basic school environment, they're talking about having a master's degree where you are prepared to teach young minds. You are trained to teach young minds. So if we want to fix our young minds, we can't have like what I went through and you went through. Basic school where people who are try a thing. You understand?
But they tried it better than even what exists now, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. So they try a thing and they take these kids into a classroom and you have persons. I grew up with basic school teachers who don't understand math, but they're teaching me math.
Yep.
The way I learned math, I had to stop listening to my teachers and go and teach myself. Math.
You have to do extra lesson. That's where the extra lesson comes.
We never get the heck. My mother couldn't afford extra lessons. And extra lessons, by the way, was designed to help teachers augment their salaries. That's where that came from in the 1970s and so. The teachers deliberately, and I'm sorry, teachers, I don't mean to hit you,
but it's true.
Deliberately cut back because they're not making enough money, so they cut back on the extension of themselves and shifted to having extra lessons. So if your parents can afford extra lessons for you, your chance of passing common entrance was increased. So I wasn't so fortunate. So my mother couldn't pay 1 cent of extra lesson. So I failed common entrance twice because of that. Okay? And so the point I'm making is this. If we really want to fix Jamaica, we have to stop the plating, stop the facades that we have, all the facades, and these
That's
eloquent
serious.
speakers and these nice offices and so on. Stop the air conditioning and all this stuff and put the money into making sure our basic schools are no longer basic schools, but really early education institutions where we have trained, competent, and qualified persons engaged in preparing those small, delicate minds,
Mm-hmm.
get them ready for primary school, and to make sure when they leave primary school, they're solid mentally. And for that to happen, you have to now deal with the prenatal stage. Look at what are
Mm-hmm.
we bringing into the world? Are the mothers who are bringing kids into the world properly nourished? Are they
Mm-hmm.
creating good blood to pass
Mm-hmm.
to their children?
Mm-hmm.
Are their mental frame such that they're setting up the children to succeed? Or are
Yeah.
they suffering mentally, depression and stress so that that is transmitted to the child, which is then
You're gone deep with it now, Mr.
or,
Patterson. You're kicking
or
my
the
brain off.
are the fathers providing nutritious sperm, if you will? Are
Yep.
they
Yep.
healthy men?
Yep.
Or are they passing on
The
deficiencies?
marijuana and the other things. Yeah.
Waters down the gene of our children
Yeah.
year after year after
The
year
gene
until,
pool. Yeah.
until we become a mass of mental degraded people because
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
actually feeding our people right. We're allowing us to import all kind of substance and put it into our bodies and pass it on to our children. Then we're adopting foreign medicine as opposed to mastering and learning how to use our own medicine, our own
Mm-hmm.
foods, our own
Mm-hmm.
chemistry, our own understanding, and build on the best, borrow the best,
Right,
and
because
discard
others
the
come
rest.
here, others come here for
Yeah,
training
borrow
and they
the
come
best
and take what we have.
and discard the rest.
Yeah,
We should be the world leader of organic foods and feed that to our people. And if we feed our people organic food and then sell the excess to the rest of the world and make sure we're food secure, then our picnic them will be mentally healthy.
absolutely.
That's where we're
So
going with this.
that's where the UIC comes
But
in.
pick up in,
Yes, go ahead, Mr.
pick up
Crawford. I
in.
have Miss Powell still on the
Just,
phone to
just,
get her poem in, so we'll close off with the poem. We haven't forgotten you, Miss Powell. Go
just to
ahead, Mr.
say,
Crawford.
all right. Just to call, just to support what Mr. Patterson is here. I want to say something to those who are watching. Right? If we can see this, right? We can see these things that's happening, and we can talk about them, right? Are you telling me that those who are in the position of governance, you're telling me that they cannot see it?
They see it and research is there, but it doesn't
So
serve
if they
the
cannot,
agenda.
because there are a lot of research out there. Now, if it's a case that they cannot see it, I put two premise forward to you. If it's a case that they cannot see it, it's potential, it's possible that our governance is being run by those who are, let's say, blind or stupid. And if it's a case that they see it and refuse to do something about it, then the premise would be that they are wicked.
Because it's service to
So
self
you do the math,
people. Yep.
because because if what Mr. Patterson just explained right here, it it affects everybody, every single being in Jamaica,
And the
even the
world
very
and the
dog.
diaspora, if you have Jamaican genes, if you have Jamaican connections,
Yeah,
Yeah. So
because if
it's
you
a
if you
serious
really
point.
check it, even it is a very serious
Yeah,
point.
because
So when Mr. Patterson say if we want to change, if we are going to change Jamaica, it is referring to us, the people. If we want to make Jamaica better, because it's obvious, it's quite evident that those who are in charge currently, they do not want to do anything about the negative experiences that the people are actually facing, right? And the truth is, just to close my point here, I want you to understand that if you control the money, if you control, or not necessarily just control it, access to it. If you control access to the money, access to the food, and by and large, access to the education that your people are receiving, then you by extension control the people. And so if I do not want to let go, if I do not want my control to kind of blow away in the wind, then I will try to maintain it by any means possible.
Right.
And that simply means keep my people at a level here mentally,
Right.
never to rise above or rise to their maximum potential.
Right.
You understand? Therefore, I would not want to put programs in place, would I?
Mhm.
Not the ones that
You see,
serve
I
development of
would
intelligence
I
and
would not want to. Agreed.
right.
I would not want to create the necessary infrastructure. And even if I have the institutions, I would not actually empower these institutions to to accommodate the persons who have the ability to function in those institutions, or to gather whatever those institutions have to offer.
Right.
Mr. Crawford,
So I leave everybody with this. Go ahead, Mr.
there
Patterson.
are two things that drives our politicians, and only
Mm.
two. One is what they get from their colonial masters. Jamaica has always been a debt-based economy, meaning you borrow and spend, and borrow and spend, and you extract the wealth of the people to pay back what you've borrowed. When you borrow, you get to steal some. Don't take responsibility for the debt. You pass it on to the people. Who give them that money? Normally the foreign powers, right? They give
Right.
them grants. They
Right.
get grants from the foreign powers, and they get loans, which means they are dictated to by the foreign powers. So our education policy, our health policy, our housing policy, our overall economic policy is driven by the foreign masters. So I
Right.
said there are two things. So one is that. The second thing is their local campaign financiers. So because the PSOJ funds their campaign, they listen to the PSOJ. So the PSOJ, they listen. We want a low wage environment, yeah, where we pay low wages so we can have maximum profits. And we want a school system which creates a narrow form of thinkers who are going to be mostly job centric. They're going to leave school for look a job.
Right.
Full stop. They're not leaving school with a broader, and nothing is wrong with looking at a job now. What I'm saying is that's just all they want. They don't want thinkers.
Hmm.
That is why today here is talking about introducing civics in school. How could we be today in 2023 talking about introducing civics that never have been
And
out of
taken
school?
out. Right.
So why are we now? Now we're talking also about introducing Marcus Garvey. Why are we in
Should have been
2023
there.
introducing? That should have been normal. So that tells you
They had Christopher Columbus.
exactly. So whatever adjustment they make now, they're only making those adjustments for the political optics, not
Yeah.
because they're caring about creating a better Jamaica. They say, oh, the UIC are come. So they might tell the people about Garvey. So let us talk about, we're going to introduce it. They might talk about good governance and civics. So let's don't tell the people we're going to introduce it. So all of their game is only a game of politics. It's not about developing the people. And the real people they work for are the colonial masters who give them the loans and the grants, and the PSOJ who gives them the campaign funding. Now, if we, the people, want to change that, we have to wise up. We have to
Yeah.
rise up. We have
Yeah.
to become mentally aware, which is hard enough because the brain not so easy.
And you have to read the fine print because it's a lot of fine print.
because they've already brought down the brain so low. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why they cut us off from the media, because if this kind of talk were to be happening on regular media,
Right.
the brain
Their
wake up.
problem. Yeah.
The brain start to wake up. Oh my God,
Definitely.
I want this to
Right.
do it. If
Right.
the whole of Jamaica could hear what we're talking and watch it, a few people now online. When we finish this live might have 200 or 300 people who have watched it. It won't have 63,000 like the one to talk about who have sex with who, raped by who, or who's playing with who. That's where the Jamaican mind is. So all the lives where it's susu, and it is basic and base.
Very
And
base. Yeah. Yeah.
comic and all kind of play things going on and set a rat up and all kind of crap. If that's what is going on, that's where the mass of the mind run.
Right.
No, we know that the media is making sure that they suppress this so that the people are not brought up. Now, we, the people here who are serious, we have to know, so we want the Jamaican people to hear this. So we have to reach them. And when we reach them, we break the lock that the PSOJ, we break the lock that the colonial masters have on the minds of our people, and we will rise up and own this UIC party. And we, the people, by word of mouth, we don't need TVJ or CVM or Gleaner or Observer or anybody. If we open our mouth, Marcus Garvey did it when there was no social media. He did it when there wasn't a whole heap of any kind of technological media. So we can, by word of mouth and printing flyers, we can get the message around. But if we don't do that and we're waiting for some kind of miracle, the only miracle will be the continuation of the deception that keeps us where we are.
Absolutely, sir. I mean, we could go so much more.
Well said, sir,
much more
Paddy.
deeper, because you went into the pathology. You went into the genetic pool, the gene string, the way that we're being now, the way that we're being treated now informs the behavior, the socialization, the mental health, everything across the board. And that becomes generational. You might not notice, but the way that we're being treated now in the society, the stress, all of those factors, if somebody is having a baby, they're exposed to this environment of stress, all the factors. And so that is incorporated in the emotional state of that child, the behavioral state, the way the brain develops, the connection. So if mom is stressed out, that's a pathology, being perpetrated. So when I look at, I see Miss Graham making she's saying the point is that's why she's saying that they're trying to make us extinct. No, I look at that after listening and hearing our president speak and relating it back to the topic, that may very well be a hidden agenda, because if we do this long enough, you're going to wonder what a Jamaican is supposed to look like.
Sorry to cut you, but that is why our Prime Minister and our opposition leader and their parliament and their Governor General and the PSOJ had no problem injecting the entire nation with something that they did not have the competencies to even understand.
They knew what they knew.
Let me tell you.
They knew it was what it was.
No, follow me. I'm saying they didn't have the
they knew it was what they said it was.
Listen, they didn't have the competence. I don't have the competence to know exactly what is it. But they were prepared to force, bribe, or trick the entire nation into going headlong into taking a substance into their bodies that 90% of us don't know what's really going on with it. We don't know.
Under the guise of economic benefit.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have read many things, I have seen a lot, I could draw many conclusions, but I'm not a scientist at the level that can tell you precisely what is going on. But today,
and that's suppressed. That a lot of that information is suppressed.
But today, we've seen enough evidence now to know that it's a good idea. But it's a good thing the UIC stood up in 2021 and brought 500 people into the streets of Kingston, led a march to Gordon House, and say, enough is enough. Don't force this on the Jamaican people. But the point I'm making is, they were prepared and still are prepared to inject a nation without knowing what the long-term repercussions is, because we have no data at the time. We're now seeing more data, which is telling us it's wiser that
shouldn't have happened.
Exactly. Right. But then we didn't have anything. But they were prepared to go headlong and to carry the entire nation into it and say, do this without knowing the long-term implications. That's the kind of leaders we have in this country. And why would they do it? They would do it because there's a financial gain attached to it for them. So whenever there's a financial gain attached to it for a minority of Jamaicans, those who control our government, those who control our banks, those who control our education system, those who control our economy, when there's a financial gain in it for them, They're prepared to take the concentrated benefit and
And leave everybody
disperse
else.
the
Yeah.
cost to us. So we will pay, and we've done it before. We owe $2 trillion in debt. All of that debt is placed on the heads of you, your children, grandchildren, and great
Grandchildren.
grandchildren. But the concentrated benefit, if they borrow $2 trillion and they steal a percentage of it, which will make any one of them filter it, it's a small number of
Mm-hmm.
them that will be filtering.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of us will pay with bad roads because the money is to fix the road.
Not right. They
We'll
took it to do
we will
something
see
else with it.
with,
Yeah.
with, with police that are under-equipped and ill-trained. We'll face with teachers who are underpaid and mentally drained. We'll face
Mm-hmm.
with students coming out failing and adding to a whole collection of underdeveloped and undereducated people. So
Right.
we're paying for the choices of our politicians who only make choices based on how it will benefit them and the small sector of our private sector in the PSOJ. That's how they make decisions. And we, the people, are paying the price. And we're paying
Yes.
the
We
price.
need to say no more.
The
No more of
longer
that.
we keep them
No
in
more.
power is the greater the
Mm-hmm.
price we and our children and grandchildren shall pay.
Yeah, and I want to offer that there's no exclusion for them, even though they're doing that in terms of how their own mentality is affected, because that in itself is a skewed way to deal with people.
Absolutely.
It shows that you're not thinking across the board in a holistic way.
Mr.
And
Prime
so there
Minister
is
thinks he
that
can
too.
live in a house with high walls and cameras on the walls and dogs in the yard and security around him and live in a Jamaica where crime continues to rise, but he will be driven
Yeah.
in a secure vehicle from his office to his house with security, and the rest of us must be exposed to the elements. That's the kind of
Yep.
thinking they're prepared to have.
Yep.
While our thinking is, why not create a Jamaica that is safe for all of us?
Where everybody
Why
can
not create a
have that
Jamaica
type
that
of
look like the Prime Minister yard?
yeah,
Why not create a
and have
Jamaica
access to
that
that.
look like the Prime Minister house? A Jamaica where the whole
Yeah.
place is clean, where the whole
Right.
place is nice, and where Jamaicans can
Right.
feel happy about the house they're living on, their own house and the house we call Jamaica. Why not have a vision for Jamaica where all of it is safe, clean, and orderly, where all of it look, smell, and feel like a tourist resort, where all of it allows everyone away to live, earn,
Right.
and retire with dignity, instead of a prime minister who knows that when he leaves politics, he will get a prime minister's salary as his pension for the rest of his life.
For
And
his
he's
life.
secure.
Yeah.
He's secure. But we, the people, must suffer because the NIS pension now the work, Mr. Crawford. When
Mhm.
you retire from teaching and see the little bit of money you go and get, and the disparity between the cost of living and what they're going to give you as your teacher's pension, you will lament and say, Lord of mercy, is this what I have given my 30 or 40 years to? That's what every retired teacher
Patterson,
is right now. Yes.
I've worked at the Ministry of Labor before on a summer job, a summer program when I was younger. And when I saw those pension vouchers, I was shocked because I thought pension meant you were getting like some 50,000. You
Mm-mm.
understand me? It
Mm-mm.
can
And
listen,
even
the
that
pension
wasn't,
vouchers that I
yeah.
see, it could not even serve for my lunch for 2 days.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're gonna close it out. I think the discussion has more than highlighted and come back to the core of what the problem is and the solutions that we should be looking to institute through the UIC, with the UIC. Vote for the UIC when the time comes. Like, share. Madam VP, oh, we haven't forgotten
Let's
you,
hear
know,
the poem
VP
before we
Powell.
go.
You're gonna end with your poem, but you know, Mr. Patterson is very eloquent, so we have to listen when he links in the mental health with the whole
Most
purview
definitely.
and giving a holistic view, you know, a brain that works 360, not 180. So I just wanted to do something with the topic. True or false, Portland and Maddout. It is too true that Jamaica is in a state of inefficiency that affects people's mental state of balance. I change that topic so that we end showing the whole picture. So, Madam VP Powell, can you please go ahead with your poem so we can close out the show for tonight? Thank you, Uniters, for joining us. The solution for the UIC is for the UIC to win and ensure skilled citizens are able to use their hands. Go ahead, Lady Powell.
Yes, Madam VP, thank you. Yes, this poem is inspired. I got the inspiration from what I saw in Portland. And yes, and I am sure persons on the street, the homeless ones, some of them maybe can relate to this. It goes like this. People see me and walk up and down the street. Them say me a mad somebody because me dirty and always a beg money and food for eat. I try sometimes to get a little work, but nobody wants to employ me, so my dirty gets dirtier and things get more tough. Depression is real. Mental illness feels like a crime. It can happen to anybody, anywhere. It can strike at any time. Mental illness has me as a prisoner. I am locked up in its cage. No strength to break free. Help, help. Someone please rescue me. A stranger came along, and this she said, with help and the right care, you can be set free. I will help you. You are no longer. Sorry. Let me get this again. A stranger came along, and this she said, with help and the right care, you can be set free. I will help you. You are no longer alone. I will help you. You are no longer alone. Mental illness will forever hold you captive if you are on your own. You still have purpose. Your light still can shine. I pray you break free from all the chains and shackles that have imprisoned your mind. And that is it.
Thank you, VP Powell. A poignant way to end. Break free from the shackles that imprison your mind.
Beautiful.
And the way that we do that, we think holistically. We think about the system from top to bottom. And we not only think about it, but we apply solutions. In my world, we talk about applying solutions to heal and resolve. So if you have a problem and you see the problem, don't just talk about the problem. Don't just highlight the problem. Look at ways to address the concern and get to that whole space of healing so we can change the pathology for the future of Jamaica, for the future of our children, future of our grandchildren. And so as you listen tonight, you heard the full scope of what the UIC can offer and will offer as the solution. Is a multi-tiered approach, not just one. So even though we started with mental illness as a challenge, we're looking at the causes, what causes it, and to provide solutions there, the foundation. When I think about that, I think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know, you fulfill the base to get to the peak. And that's the vehicle is the UIC. So thank you everyone for joining us, Uniters. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Crawford. I don't know where Kristoff went. I'm not sure if he just dropped off the call. Thank you, VP Powell. Technical difficulties will happen. Oh, Kristoff, there you are. Where you want to have a closing thought, sir?
I am just listening.
Anything to say?
I think honestly, the president he hit all the points that I wanted to speak about. So I have nothing to say more than to just listen to you guys. He did a wonderful job.
Wonderful job. One Jamaica.
One.
Stronger together. Good night, Uniters. VP Paulie, want to shout out your good night?
Yeah, man. Good night to everyone. It was a good discussion. And big up to Portland. Love you. Hope the community, the parish, can be healed soon.
The country. Thank you, VP Powell. The country needs the healing. Yes, Janet, we're gone in spirit. Hallelujah. One Jamaica, stronger together. One Jamaica, unite us. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us. Like, share, talk the things. Join us again tomorrow for another live. See you then. Have a good night.
Right.
Naika, take us out. Thank you again, sir.